Alright, so this video I gotta talk about Bitcoin. As much as I would love, I mean love, to have had Bitcoin when it was in the pennies, even a few dollars, considering where it's at right now, $700, $800, $900. I would love to have got on that, or Litecoin even, and sell off like right now. But I didn't, and it's not something that I would trust or recommend anyone trust. It's just not. It is a digital currency on the internet. Imagine if the power goes out somewhere, or our government simply passes a law saying it's now illegal to have Bitcoins, and they block all Bitcoin transactions. You then have a pile of worthless digital, not even a pile because you can't really pile up digital stuff, but you have a pile of worthless Bitcoins. Again, if I had the opportunity to get in on Bitcoin, knowing all these things, knowing that it could have the potential to go where it went, I would have jumped on it, just for the sheer fact that I'm going to get in and out before any of this bad stuff happens. I missed the boat. I'm hoping it crashes down again so that maybe we can try this again and get in it. But here's the key thing, because I'm reading stuff, even in alternative media, where people, hey, yeah, Bitcoin, and people are finally figuring out that Bitcoin's worth something, and it's not fiat currency like the government prints. It's different. It's blah blah blah. There's only going to be 22 million Bitcoins ever created, and I think it's 22 million, not dollars, but 22 actual Bitcoins, individual Bitcoins. So let's talk about that for a second. If there's only 22 million, how in the hell is the world going to use this? How in the hell is the world going to use a bunch of Bitcoins if there's only 22 million ever created? There's we're got to be around 7 billion people on the planet now. How is it even possible that the whole world could use such a thing when there's only 22 million of them? It's not. That's one problem. Second problem is, what if Bitcoin was this great thing because of the price currently is saying I am a great thing. That's why I use that term. The price of Bitcoin right now is saying I am a great thing. But if Bitcoin is such a great thing, it was created in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's been 4 years. It's been in the pennies, price-wise. It's been $2, it's been $10, it's been all over the map. It's now around $800-something, I think. Which, again, let me say this again. I wish I caught on to this early enough. Even earlier this year would have been enough to make a small fortune on Bitcoin. But why is it now that the price is rising out of control? Think about this. Did all of a sudden the whole world switch on all at the same moment? Because literally it exploded overnight, the price. Did the whole world just automatically figure out, when the past almost 4 years now, 2009, it hasn't done anything like this? So all of a sudden it does this out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. And Litecoin, which was 7 to 8 cents in January of this year, 2013, is now pushing $9 again. As in the last week it did it too. That's massive gains if you would have got in on that. But is it people who've been pushing behind Bitcoin? Because everyone who's been pushing behind Bitcoin to say, hey, this is what we want, this is, everyone check this out, this is good, have given all the reasons why it's good. It's not centralized like the banking system where these elitists control everything. It's something that all of us can just use and barter with. It's as our own little currency. It's out of their control, it's out of their system, that's why it's good. But then you realize, well, I can go online right now and trade Bitcoins. I can even buy them on margin. I've already seen it. So it's like a futures contract. 10 to 1. So what is really setting the price of Bitcoin? Is it all these people who have spent the last 4 years telling the rest of the world this is good, this is good, this is why it's good, and yet Bitcoin has crashed multiple times? I mean crashed heavy duty, and then gone back up, and then crashed some more. Is that how a new global type currency trading system actually works? Do you really think that that's acceptable as a form of money or trading currency, whatever, that it just crashes almost down to nothing, and then back up, and then back down to nothing, and then now absolutely has exploded to the high side? The answer is no. So you have to say then, well, what is really making the price go up? And that's a damn good question. What I can tell you it's not is the average person, the alternative people, media, mindset, whatever, going in on Bitcoin all of a sudden because they've been telling us for the last 4 years, this is what we wanted, this is why we wanted it, it's a good thing to have these Bitcoins, here's why, and look at it, the price is doing great, we're all in it now. No, because people have been into Bitcoin this whole time. The same people who are pushing Bitcoin have always pushed Bitcoin. So why did it take 4 years overnight one day for the price to explode? I'm going to give you my opinion. And my opinion is that Wall Street is all over Bitcoin right now, trading it like they do everything else, which means they're manipulating it, which means, as you already know, they manipulate everything else on Wall Street. Price of oil set on Wall Street. Price of gold and silver set on Wall Street. Price of a bushel of corn set on Wall Street. Interest rates, basically, not necessarily Wall Street, but the same group of controlling bastards set the interest rates globally through their same computer systems on Wall Street. So that's who I think is doing this. And I think they're going to let it build up really high, make a ton of money doing it, and then pull the rug out from underneath it like they do with everything else that they don't want people messing with, namely precious metals. They did it to gold and silver. I think they'll do it to Bitcoin. Again, if you got it, I could say that I can make the same argument for silver. It wasn't all that long ago, years back, that you could look in the 1990s, I think, especially late 90s and then early 2000s, silver was $2, $3, $4 a coin for an ounce. $2, $3, and $4 in between that time frame. Think about when silver in 2011 hit $49, $50. You would have stood to make a fortune if you bought a bunch of silver when it was $2 and $3. Of course, I was a kid, basically, teenage, going into my manhood, so to speak, in the 1990s. So I knew, naturally, I knew absolutely nothing about this, nor were we at the level of where we are at as a planet as a whole back in the 1990s. So I would have not had a reason to see it or know it like we do now. So what happened to those things? They bring the price up, then they crash them. But when you look at gold and silver, it has been money forever. And then if you look at, well, if it's money, then we ought to see governments around the world getting into it. That would be a perfect argument. And you know what? That is a good argument, and that's absolutely true. Governments around the world, especially the up-and-coming big one, China, has been all over gold and now silver. In India, gold, of course. Russia, you name it, gold, gold, gold. Everyone's buying precious metals. They're not saying why they're buying them, because they don't want people to know, hey, we're buying them because we're expecting some very bad economic times using the current currency system the whole planet's using, which is fractional reserve paper money lending. It's not working. We know it's not working. We know it's coming to an end. So we are preparing for the thing that does work, that we know the citizens will demand works once they realize what has happened. And we're going to tell them and calm them down by telling them we now have backing of the new currency, etc., with gold and silver. And he who, as they say, the golden rule, he who has the gold makes the rules. And if China has all the gold, and China's the up-and-coming superpower, I think it's pretty safe China and Russia, the BRICS nations, are going to be making the rules. And little old USA, it's going to be little old USA, is not invited to that party. So if you're in little old USA, you got to have your precious metals. If you want to take some cash on the side and get into things like Bitcoin for the sole purpose of understanding, I only want to get in and get out and make money, go for it. Again, I'm waiting for it to crash so I can do that. But I will not sell even a single ounce of silver to go towards Bitcoin right now because it's too volatile. It's too crazy. I think it's so overinflated that I can't touch it. And that's not to say that it can't even go higher. There's no telling that whoever the hell's behind the price rise, whatever group is pushing this price up, how high they intend on letting it go up. I have no idea. I do not know that. But it's too dangerous for me right now. I got to see way lower prices before I get in it. And if it acts like any other stock, silver, gold, anything on Wall Street, everything balloons up and then comes down when there's a big push up like that to some normal level of, sanity. And right now, these levels where Bitcoin and Litecoin and freaking cryptocurrencies, which have really no value, they're a digital trading medium. I cannot trust that. And I can't trust the prices where they are. Can you imagine all of a sudden thinking, well, I think it might go to $3,000 or $4,000. I got to get in now. It's $900. And you blow $1,000 on one single Bitcoin, let's say, or maybe two. $1,800 on 2 Bitcoin, and then it crashes down to $150 again. You're going to be sick to your stomach. You will. Even though that wasn't a whole lot of money, you will be sick to your stomach. And if I sold silver to make that trade happen, and then that happened, I'd be sick to my stomach. So I want to see Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies crash again, and I mean big time, and then go in it. And even then, if it's the powers that be, which it probably is that cause it, they will do the old 1-2 maneuver, which means they'll let it crash, let it start to rise just a little bit, pull the rest of the suckers back in, and then slam it down even harder. Little secondary crash. That's around the time you really want to get in. However, if it crashes just once, heavy duty, it might be worthwhile to go ahead and get in and see if we can get it to rise again. Again, whoever's pushing this. What if it's not the elite? What if it's not the powers that be that are pushing the price up? What if it's just some billionaire group, hedge fund group or something, that's tired of just looking at the stocks, understands the stock market's getting ready to crash, and has dumped a couple $1 billion on the side to start buying up the Bitcoins and that's who's making the price rise, because they're going out buying them all up at any price, market price, buy it all slowly but surely. And anyone that has them starts seeing the market rise. Okay, I'm going to sell, and this entity is buying them all. Well, then they're going to have a whole bunch of Bitcoin themselves, and if they hoard them all, that means there's a lot less Bitcoins online, which means the price could go up even higher, and then they can start unloading them. But again, when you start acquiring a whole bunch of something and then start unloading it, that's what pushes the price back down. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But as you can see on Wall Street, whatever their tactic is of doing it, they're experts, and they can push the price of anything anywhere they want. They can push it up and they can push it down. However they make that happen. So I feel that same entity is what's behind Bitcoin. So yeah, it could be wrong. I'm just, it's my opinion here. But I just don't trust enough to, as I would gold and silver. Gold and silver have thousands of years of history. Bitcoin has 4 years. Literally, think about that. That says a lot. So I understand we're in the digital age now. We have computers now. Everything's online. And Bitcoin, in that general sense, would be a very good idea. Of course, you're going to have to make more than 22 million Bitcoins. You need enough for the whole damn world. So anyways, that's all I got to say about that. Take care.